Ladies and gentlemen, episode 62 of Depths of Gaming. That's Jaheath.
And that's Necro.
Hey, and we are here first with the depth charges. Prison Architect has been updated.
Oh,
Yes.
yay! We're starting up quick.
We're hitting that ground running. It's the Battle Royale way now. Just every time, drop out of that plane, Tilted Towers. Every time. Every time, Tilted Towers. Even if it's not even in the game you're playing. Go Tilted
Yes.
Towers. Uh,
Yes. You were sick of your Battle Royale styles in your video games? Well, now you have in your podcast.
oh, it's everywhere now. Just grab a
So,
shotgun and get to work. So Prison Architect has been updated, which is funny because I thought they stopped that, but nope.
some of those indie games are like in a state of constant production. So they are constantly like added to. I believe that Terraria will just had a very big expansion like this month or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still getting added to.
So prisoners are able to steal uniforms from the laundry in order to make escape ropes, and so they'll use that to cross fences. Strong prisoners can just leap over fences. So I think that's
Hmm.
where the concrete walls come into play. I think they're harder to scale.
Hmm.
Um, they also made it so the warden is able to have a roll call, and that'll allow you to figure out if there's prisoners that are uh, not where they're supposed to be.
Ooh.
So Xenonauts 2 is on Kickstarter and is also funded
Hmm.
after like a week, I think. Uh,
Nice.
it looks to be a mix of the Firaxis XCOM and the original XCOM. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not too happy with how the base looks now. It's more of a sliced like hive style, like in the uh,
Hmm.
like in Firaxcom 1 and 2. Uh, but the actual global game seems to be quite intense as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to fund it yet. We will see. The aliens look pretty though. They've got a sectoid looking guy that looks a lot like Crypto from Destroy All Humans.
Well, all of those aliens are well. The most popular design for aliens is the little gray man, like or little green man, right?
I'm not green. The game Active Shooter has been thrown out of pretty much everywhere
Hmm.
because Steam threw it out. I wouldn't be surprised if itch.io threw it out. Uh,
Hmm.
PayPal now is not touching it, which is very in character for them because they don't want any attention.
Hmm. Yeah. When it comes to PayPal, they uh, they know that they are on some fringy shit, and they do not want government to pay attention to them. So they're extremely careful about who they're doing business with, and they're very I don't know how to call it, uh, very strict when it comes to their policies, and very strict when it comes to enforcing them, because they do not want bad press. As soon as some bad press happens to them, they will immediately. They know they will immediately lose a lot of money, and they don't want that.
At all. So on to our segments.
Yay!
Friday the 13th gets permanently axed. Even if the IP result dispute has been solved, they're gone because it appears that as part of this dispute, they can't really change anything as part of the game. So they said, fuck it, we're not doing anything anymore.
Yay!
I guess. Because the whole
Well,
point of the game was to try and outdo Dead by Daylight.
mm-hmm. I believe that Dead by Daylight didn't really have access to all the horror murderers. They kind of created their own kind of story. And
Originally.
yeah.
Now they have Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. Like, they've been
Oh,
purchasing up IPs to cram
oh,
into their
that's nice.
game.
And Friday the 13th is just Jason, right?
Um, yes.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the reason why there's not much in terms of variety. I don't know. I
Where
didn't play neither of those games. I'm not much of a horror fan.
I have Dead by Daylight. I play it every now and then. And there have been some legitimately terrifying moments. Like, one time I was exploring a house and I look behind me and Michael Myers is literally directly behind me staring at me. I'm like, shit!
That's probably because thanks to a good player rather than the game design itself.
No, I think the game design really helped.
Oh, okay.
Because he's, for one, all of these monster villains are like twice the size of a normal person. I've seen Jason Voorhees as actor. He is a big boy. When I saw him, he was flexing his muscles next to a fan's arm, and the difference was night and day. So, anything else?
I don't know. We probably have a lot to talk about, like the fact that Bethesda sues Westworld for mobile game for IP infringement.
Yeah, because the deal with Westworld is if you haven't watched the show, it's essentially about a theme park where.
Underground theme park.
No.
Is it? Wasn't it underground?
Well, the game is. So there's a facility underneath the theme park where the humans work and operate. While above in the actual theme park, there are a bunch of synthetic people called hosts that they
Well,
assign roles to and they do stuff.
well, yes, but from what I remember about Westworld, it's everything was a host, right? Except for the flies. That's because they had like this isolated environment, and somehow flies got in.
Yeah.
And I thought that the entire environment was like underneath the ocean or underneath underground or something like that.
No.
Really? Oh, okay.
No, it's apparently some real place. I
Yeah,
because
it
I've
is
been
real.
watching the show,
Hmm.
and I'm really getting the vibe that they're on like some giant island off the coast of somewhere.
I see.
Like they really haven't said it yet, but that's my theory.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing it with the original TV show.
You possibly
Yeah,
because I
or
haven't
the
watched
book.
the original show.
Yeah.
But onto the onto the game. So the deal here is that Bethesda has identified about 46 different infringement claims.
Obviously. You don't go for one, you go for
Oh
40.
yeah, you pile that shit on. So there's a picture here somewhere. There we go. Where uh, they've identified that characters stand in the same positions in these scenes. They act the same way. They walk the same way. The rooms are built the same way. The UI is very similar in function. They've moved stuff around, but it works the same way. And so the argument then becomes: is this copyright? Did they steal the code, or is this just acceptable for the genre? And they're saying no, they stole the code. And
Really?
yes,
Huh.
they're saying that this company ported the code over and created new art assets, and then made it Westworldy.
Hmm. If they indeed took the code, then yeah, they probably have like to stand on. But however, just all they have to say, the developers of Westworld, all they have to say was that it was developed in house. There's no way to prove it
Unless
unless they show the code to the judge.
because here's the
So
problem.
for now, it's just allegation that they took the code,
In the
right?
original build of Fallout Shelter, there was a bug. And this bug made it so in a specific scene the camera was out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
When the game was released, they fixed it.
Yes.
This bug is present in the Westworld mobile game.
Oh, that's a very strong case. I remember that there was a coder. I don't know the details because it wasn't given in the story. However, I remember that a coder was writing had a company, software company. They were developing software for other companies, and at some point, a client said that they don't really need his services anymore because they already have a piece of software that fulfills their needs, right? So the coder went there to see what to see the software that client said he had, and he noticed that the UI elements were similar, that there were all kinds of different things there that were similar, and he decided to check something out because in his code he created a little bit a breakout game, right? That you could basically use a key combination and a click to basically turn on a breakout game. And suddenly, lo and behold, he starts playing Breakout because it's his code and it's provable.
That's hilarious.
Yes, the same thing map creators do. They will create a fake. They will create a fake town, and therefore that fake town becomes copyrightable work of fiction, right? Because usually, if someone copies out your map, right, he will also copy that fictional town. However, if you because you cannot copyright technically the fact that you mapped an area, right? That's the reason why they do it, and that's the reason why he implanted that game into his code. So this is the same kind of deal here. This is very interesting.
It is, because this all turns into what could be a credible case.
Hmm.
And so I'm not sure if the Westworld game's going to exist for very long.
One, it will probably not exist for very long, and second, there will be hell to pay.
Right, because now they're kicking HBO in the nuts.
Yeah, usually Bethesda doesn't really have a leg to stand on with these kinds of things. However, like we know from the scrolls that they sued Mojang over, right?
Yeah,
But this seems like very legitimate case.
it does. It's quite interesting. What's also interesting is the panic and discord over the nukes in Fallout 76. There, r/gaming has been awash in nuke memes and terror and gloom and doom, going, oh no, we're gonna get nuked left and right and there'll be no indication and blah 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 blah. And not only is there no reason to believe it's gonna be so stupid and cheesy, but they're forgetting that they're not game designers.
Yeah. First, wait for the game to release and then judge the mechanics. But it's very interesting, the entire idea of Fallout 76, right? Because it's, in theory, a prequel to all the stories, and two, it's, in theory, an online game, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely new venture for the entire idea of Fallout, right? I think it's going to go the same route like the Elder Scrolls Online went. So it's going to be very forgettable. So I don't think people should get their panties in a twist.
Yeah. We'll see, because the
Hmm.
deal with Fallout 76 is it takes place uh, in Virginia, and Fallout 76 is this giant, sprawling complex underneath.
Hmm.
And so we're gonna see the first suits of power armor again. We're gonna see
Yeah.
a lot of robots and a lot of mutated monsters.
Ooh.
I don't think ghouls are going to really be around, and this takes place before super mutants were created by the Master. So
Yes.
there
And this is
shouldn't there
before
shouldn't be
Master.
super mutants. I think they're going to
Yes.
put in super mutants, but there shouldn't be super mutants.
Yeah, because technically it's before Master.
Yes. But they're gonna cheat. I know they are.
Hmm. Well, they're when it comes to Bethesda, they are known for bending the lore every now and then, just to make the games more fun, and I am not opposed to that.
Yes. So finally, to address all of the panic and discord, they explained how nukes work in Fallout 76.
Hmm.
And it's actually quite simple. You're looking for code fragments, and you use the code fragments to build a complete nuclear code. You then go to a nuclear silo, which, from what he's saying, is going to be a difficult sort of traditional Fallout dungeon.
Hmm.
So, powerful monsters, loot, that sort of thing. And when you launch a nuke, there will be an indication. Everyone gets warned. There's a timer.
Hmm. Nuke
And
incoming.
it also is going to create rare resources and monster spawns in that area.
Makes sense. Radiation is magic.
Absolutely. Radiation is indeed magic. So, uh, it's interesting because this is one of the first times in a Fallout game that radiation was really weaponized.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not entirely sure if there are weapons that create radiation, and if there
Mini nuke.
are, they're very uncommon.
Yeah, mini nukes.
Well, there's mini nukes, but they're super rare.
Yeah.
Where this is a
And
real
the,
nuke.
and the radiation they create is not permanent from what I remember.
I think it's just. I think it's like. I think it just creates like a flash of it, like a grenade. Where this is like a giant portion of the map that is now bleeding radiation.
So basically, think more civilizations radiation rather
Yeah,
than like weapon radiation from like first person shooter.
yeah, because it's more of a zone that you
Hmm.
create than anything else. And this is interesting because when you think about it as a complete feature,
Hmm.
it's really in place.
Hmm.
And so it actually makes me really excited for Fallout 76 now because I it sounds like it's going to be pretty fun to play with friends.
Yep. Uh, what I want to see is basically the collective autism going into play, and the player base designating a single area where they will dump all their nukes at, just to pump out radiation to the max.
Well, yeah, because whenever you have something like that as a massive PvE feature like that, this
Hmm.
game is naturally suited for clan warfare. Um,
Yes.
and so, yeah, you're going to have people calling out nuke spawns, and that's fine.
Hmm.
Especially on like the permanent servers that are always on.
Yep.
Normal people call them dedicated, but I use more words.
Yes.
Flying Deathclaws. On to answers that nobody wanted.
Yay! What do we have
Yeet
here?
Yeats posts players constantly interrupts. Any suggestions? I have a player that frequently interrupts me. Some of the times he interrupts me is when another player is buying stuff, when I am dealing with another player in general, and when NPCs are talking. When he interrupts, he doesn't even say anything meaningful. For example, while I was explaining to another player how dwarves view dragonborns and some recent history of the kingdom, the player asked, the other player randomly blurts out that his character is OP. Then, within a few minutes of that, he blurts out that he wants to sell things, while the other player is in the middle of buying stuff. Every session, I have to tell him multiple times to wait and stop interrupting, and I am fed up with it. I have
Okay.
read a few ideas I like. For example, when you interrupt the NPC, everything you say is in character and getting disadvantage on rolls.
First suggestion. I would like you to stand up
I broke it.
reach out behind yourself and pull out that broomstick that is stuck up your ass.
Yeah.
Secondly, yes, sometimes players want to engage, right? They want to interact with the game, and some players are more enthusiastic when they do that than other players. That does not mean that it's something bad. If anything, think about a way how you could harness that enthusiasm. For example, get the player to do some planning with other players while you explain something to a single person, right? You can do that. There are other ways too, but this is mostly a task for your imagination.
Absolutely. In-character actions have in-character consequences. And so one of the top comments is this guy going, "Never solve your problems in-game. I've never heard of it working." And that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when a player is talking to an NPC, they're in character. They're trying to actually talk to the character. Mm-hmm. So it's natural that when they say something weird, they're going to go, what are you talking about?
Yes, precise. Yeah. You're completely right. When you are talking to a NPC, to a normal person, right? You interrupt them from time to time, just like I'm doing right now with Necro.
Yes, that is what humans do. See, we are human.
Indeed, we are not figments of your imagination at all. Brought to you by your AI overlords.
So definitely tell him. Usually you just have to say, just so you know, in-character actions have in-character consequences, and it's nothing personal.
Mm-hmm.
And that will hopefully explain to him what is about to happen. Because when you say that to a player, you are notifying him that you have turned on hard mode. And you don't get mulligans like you typically get in an Adventure Leagues table.
Yay.
Because
I do agree. Sometimes characters get very annoying.
Absolutely.
People can be very annoying.
And part of the fun of being a dungeon master is beating the living shit out of your players because you can't do it in real life.
Remember, you can always say rocks fall and you die.
Gotta watch for those spontaneously falling rocks. But that's my answer essentially, is talk to him, just tell him, hey, in-character actions, consequences. The reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to know that when you interrupt characters, sometimes there's a consequence, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. As there are times where you do want to interrupt people.
Yeah. For example, there was this one time when we were playing Shadowrun, right? And this character comes out when we were trying to run away.
I remember this, and he's like, "Nope, not interested."
Yes, he was preparing to do this monologue, and the entire party at the same time said, "We shoot him in the face."
It was like a hologram thing, but still, it was hilarious.
Yep.
They're like, "No time." Because that's the other thing is is when you play enough video game RPGs and you play enough tabletop RPGs, you realize that there's a multiple array of ways you can handle any situation, and sometimes you select the no fucks given option.
Yes.
Just, my character does not have time for this shit right now. We need to move.
Yep. It was wonderful too. Basically, every enemy who saw that was like, "What the fuck just happened? Did they just kill our boss like nonchalantly?"
It is not that kind of movie.
Yep. Yeah. Players do not like tropes. When they sense where this shit is going, they're going to go the other way. They will find the way.
They will, and that's when you throw in red herring tropes to fuck with them.
Yep.
On another run with that character, they went to Ano Nuevo, which is a park in California with sea lions. It's where they all, or no, elephant seals. I'm sorry, there are elephant seals all over the coast there, and and so in Shadowrun I said that they awakened and became mammoth seals, and so there was a whole coast of them. However, before they even got to that part, there's a little outpost that you go to. Mm-hmm. And they were so sure that the MacGuffin they were looking for was in that outpost that they explored it entirely.
Oh, you think?
They thought it was that easy. Because they went in, they found a body that was drained. There's an attic, a spoopy attic, and they're looking in the attic, and they find a vault, and they're like, God, we have to get in this vault. I think it's in here. We have to get in this vault. And they get in the vault. They found an old handgun and a file. Jack shit. That's our show.
Yep. Thank you everybody for listening and watching on the YouTubes. Give us a subscribe and a like maybe.
Thanks, Plox.